Hi there. Welcome. It's Psychic Cynthia here, Spiritual Psychic Cynthia Killian. And this is one of those cosmic updates for you. This week, in the week that is starting on April 11th, we're going to have some interesting shifts. Tomorrow, so that'd be April 12th, 2022, there is a major configuration in the cosmos that will be exact. This is Jupiter is aligning or conjuncting with Neptune in Pisces. I believe that's going to be at 23 degrees Pisces. And these are very spiritual energies that these planets represent. Both Jupiter and Neptune could be said to represent, on a higher metaphysical level, the voyage of the soul, as the soul sails across eternity. And in the sign of Pisces, Pisces is such a deeply feeling, compassionate, loving sign. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. Well, if the zodiac was a line, it's actually a circle, but you understand what I mean. So it is said to encompass the energies of all of the other 11 signs. So it's a very old soul energy. It feels a lot. It has that wider Buddhic or Christ consciousness, that compassion. So anyway, with this conjunction happening on Tuesday this week, this whole week, you may feel your heart chakra being stimulated. You may feel it opening in a higher way, not just in a kind of way where you feel overwhelmed with feelings, but this is more of a transit that awakens the higher heart chakra, the higher aspects of that heart flame. And yes, deep compassion. If there have been misunderstandings in relationships, as I'm sure we all have had, if you are carrying hurts or grievances from the past, grudges, it may be that you didn't even know you were carrying them, unforgiveness. It is possible at this time that all of these things could melt away, at least some of them. This morning I found myself thinking about somebody from my past that's still connected to some other friends, and I found myself thinking about this person in a very compassionate way. This is somebody who really I find quite annoying, and I'm not ashamed to say that, because I think, we all have people in our life who just rub us the wrong way, right? There's friction in the energies. We don't get along well. There's not a resonance. Instead of resonance, there's dissonance. So this is somebody like this, so I don't associate with them much, but some of my friends and loved ones still do. And, I found myself just randomly thinking about that person in a very deeply compassionate way today. Not so much in a personal way, but thinking about something they had done recently and to one of my friends, and just understanding, oh, yeah, I could understand, well, this person's acting that way because of their childhood relationship with their father. So I just had this breakthrough, just come out of nowhere, a very compassionate, deep level breakthrough of understanding and empathy for someone who normally annoys me. So maybe you'll have something like that too, an increase in the empathy and the compassion and understanding. And also you might experience in this week, because really this is just for this whole week, not just for Tuesday, understand. So you might feel an awakening happening in terms of getting more clear about your own soul journey, your soul voyage, what is for you and what is not for you in this lifetime, on a really deep level too, not just a minute level, not just like, well, I like to do this or I don't like to do that, but something deeper, just feeling more deeply into your path. I think that's part of what can happen with this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. Of course, there is a shadow side to every aspect, to every shift, or there's a way that the energies can flow if we're in shadow. Maybe that's the way to put it. If we're more subconscious, if you are not very conscious, but you probably are because you're watching this video, but maybe there's people around you who are not very conscious or awake at all yet. Um, or maybe you're struggling right now yourself, moving through that shadow. If so, some of the vibrations you might also feel, or you might only feel, with Jupiter conjunct Neptune in Pisces, you might feel overwhelmed by the currents of energy, by the psychic vibrations around you. Jupiter has a way of expanding everything it touches. So when it touches Neptune and Pisces, it can expand our illusions and our self-delusions. So for some, they might find themselves either thinking of themselves in a really low way, like a self-effacing way, because there's a martyrdom part of Pisces, so that could expand. If you have the illusion that you're not worth anything, that feeling could expand. But on the other hand, if you're very egotistic and you think you're better than others, maybe not you, but somebody around you, that egotism could expand as well. We often don't think of that when we, think of Pisces, and it will be less because Pisces has less of an ego. So I think the downside or the shadow side for some, maybe a way to think of it, what we'll be working with in the shadow parts of ourselves is dealing with those places in ourselves where we feel inadequate, and I think, it might be good to get outside your comfort zone a little, and maybe you're not inadequate. Maybe in that area you just haven't gained the skill yet. Maybe you're ready to start, whether that is, you're looking at your inadequacy as a parent or as a business person or at a new hobby or skill. Just because you haven't gotten good at something yet or mastered it, it doesn't mean you can't, okay? And who knows, maybe you're feeling inadequate in areas where you are perfect already. Personally, if I start to feel inadequate, or if there's something I want to do and I'm not sure, I'm not ready yet, I just kind of lean into that. And if I really feel called to go further in that, instead of concentrating on how inadequate I am, I might say, I apply myself to becoming stronger in that area, to becoming better. So if you find yourself feeling inadequate, in any area, whether that's a deep spiritual, emotional level, if so, then apply yourself to strengthening in that area. If you feel inadequate, because I think at the end of the day, whether you are or are not inadequate, that's somewhat subjective. And I guess if you believe that you are, then in your mind you are. So the remedy to that is to do what is needed to change that belief within you. And a couple years ago, I felt mentally inadequate because I came into contact with some colleagues and friends who were speaking multiple languages, and I realized I'm only fluent in one language. I'm only, proficient actually in one language, and I felt a little insecure and inadequate around that. So rather than sitting around stewing about that, I started studying Spanish every day, and I've been doing it now for a year and a half or something like that. So now I don't feel quite as inadequate. Okay. For example, that's a really tangible thing. And I think it can be harder if you're struggling in other areas of your life, but still the solution is the same: to take some positive steps, what you think you need to do to move towards really not just adequacy, but fulfillment in that area. Because I feel like whenever we get that little nagging feeling inside, that negative self-talk where we think we're inadequate, maybe that's just the soul's way of telling us this is a part of ourselves we want to strengthen and develop further. Maybe we're not really inadequate, but we just haven't come into our being yet, and we need to give that area more attention and care. All right, well, I wasn't planning on talking about that, but that really is how these energies work with the Jupiter and Neptune. They're very inspired energies. They move us, and Even the average person can become a channel for pure positive insights, universal inspiration when we are having the rays of this influx of energy. So anyway, enjoy it. We also have a full moon at the end of this week too. I'll write about that in my newsletter. So if you are subscribed to my newsletter, check that out. It's free. You can get subscribed on my website. I write about every full moon and every new moon because I love the moon and all the wonderful energies. Until next time, though, speaking of wonderful energies, I'm sending you all wonderful energies and bright blessings.